They said it was just another police video. But when it hit the internet, everything changed. The clip showed a uniformed officer standing in the rain, hands shaking, voice breaking as he faced the man who had once trained him. By sunrise, the whole city of Briarfield was divided. Was he a hero or a traitor? And as the truth unraveled, one thing became clear. Sometimes justice isn't about who's right, but who's brave enough to stand alone. The rain hadn't stopped for 3 days. Downtown Briarfield was soaked in the kind of silence that only came after too many headlines and too many lies. Commissioner Adrian Brooks sat inside his glass-walled office on the 14th floor, looking down at the streets below. He'd only been in the city for 2 months, but it already felt like a lifetime. The department was fractured, half the force loyal to the old guard, the other half waiting for something new, and the city itself, it was tired. Tired of promises, tired of apologies, tired of pretending justice still worked. That morning, his deputy, Sergeant Miller, walked in with a folder in hand. "Sir," he said, "you're going to want to see this." Brooks turned slowly, expecting another complaint, another video, another reason for the public to lose faith. But this one was different. The video wasn't leaked by outsiders. It came from inside the department. It showed Officer Daniel Rourke, a quiet patrolman, confronting his superior, Lieutenant Harris, during an arrest gone wrong. The footage was raw, shaky, body cam clipped to Rourke's vest. Harris had tackled a teenager too hard, slammed him against a squad car, and ignored his pleas that he couldn't breathe. Rourke's voice cut through the chaos. "Lieutenant, that's enough." But Harris didn't stop. And then, in one unthinkable moment, Rourke pulled him back, stepping between the lieutenant and the boy. The screen froze on Rourke's face, drenched, conflicted, furious. And then the video ended. By noon, it was everywhere. Social media tore the department apart. Some called Rourke a coward for defying his superior. Others called him a hero for saving a life. And through it all, Commissioner Brooks stayed silent. He knew this moment would define everything. That night, Brooks called Rourke into his office. The young officer stood rigid, hands clasped behind his back. "Sir, I didn't leak the footage," Rourke said immediately. "I believe you," Brooks replied. "But the question isn't who leaked it. It's what it means." Rourke's eyes flickered with guilt. "I just couldn't watch it happen again," he said softly. "We're supposed to protect people, not scare them." Brooks studied him. The kind of silence that came from years of knowing too many truths. "You did what you thought was right," he said finally. "That takes guts. But this city doesn't forgive easily." Over the next few days, Briarfield turned into a battlefield of opinions. Talk shows, protests, news anchors, everyone had something to say. Rourke was suspended pending investigation, and Harris lawyered up, claiming Rourke had disobeyed direct orders. Inside the precinct, officers picked sides. Some refused to work with Rourke again. Others quietly thanked him when no one was watching. And through it all, Commissioner Brooks watched the storm build. He knew he couldn't let the department tear itself apart. Not again. 2 weeks later, the city council called for a public hearing. They wanted answers, and they wanted blood. The hearing room was packed. Reporters, activists, cops, and families. At the center sat 3 men, Harris, Rourke, and Brooks. The air felt electric as the chairwoman spoke. "Commissioner Brooks, this city has seen too much. We need to know. Did Officer Rourke violate department protocol?" Brooks didn't answer immediately. He looked at Rourke, his face pale, his jaw tight, then at Harris, sitting smugly in his decorated uniform. He took a deep breath. "No," Brooks said finally. "Officer Rourke didn't violate protocol. He upheld it. Because protecting a citizen's life is not defiance. It's duty." The room erupted, half in applause, half in outrage. Harris slammed his fist on the table. "You're undermining the chain of command, Commissioner." Brooks turned to him. "I'm rebuilding the kind of command this department should have had all along." That night, as the headlines exploded again, something shifted. For the first time, people weren't just angry. They were hopeful. The footage replayed on every screen in the city, but now it felt different. It wasn't about a scandal anymore. It was about courage. In the following weeks, Brooks initiated reforms, new body cam policies, mental health programs for officers, and community outreach projects. He reinstated Rourke, not as punishment, but as a message that the department could be better. Not perfect, but better. Months passed. Briarfield slowly began to heal. The protest quieted, replaced by candlelight vigils and neighborhood meetings. Rourke returned to duty, quieter than before, but stronger somehow. One evening, he stopped by the commissioner's office, still in uniform. "Sir," he said, "people are starting to wave again when they see the patrol car." Brooks smiled faintly. "That's how it starts." Rourke hesitated, then asked, "Do you think it'll last?" Brooks looked out the window at the city lights shimmering below. "It will," he said, "as long as we remember why we wear the badge in the first place." A few days later, a new video surfaced, but this one wasn't leaked. It was official, released by the department. It showed officers and citizens standing together at a community event. Kids laughing, music playing, the sun breaking through the clouds. In the final shot, Rourke stood next to Brooks, smiling slightly as they helped an elderly man cross the street. The caption read, "Trust isn't given. It's rebuilt, one act at a time, and for the first time in a long time, Briarfield felt like home again." The story of Commissioner Elias Grant in Briarfield is a powerful lesson on leadership, accountability, and the responsibilities that come with authority. At its core, the narrative teaches that true power is earned through integrity and action, not merely assumed through rank or title. Lieutenant Jack Harlow and other senior officers relied on fear, tradition, and their uniforms to enforce obedience, believing that a badge alone commanded respect. Elias Grant's quiet, composed presence challenged this assumption, showing that real authority comes from ethical leadership, consistency, and moral courage. One major lesson is the importance of accountability. When Harlow assaulted Grant, believing him to be a civilian, it exposed a system that allowed misconduct to persist under the guise of order. The viral video and live coverage demonstrated that transparency is critical for justice. Organizations, whether police departments or corporations, cannot function effectively if actions are hidden. Public trust is maintained through honesty, openness, and immediate corrective action. Closely linked to this is the lesson of moral courage. Officer Liam Hayes, the rookie, faced a difficult choice: intervene or remain silent. By ultimately stepping forward and recording the incident, he played a crucial role in exposing the truth. This shows that doing the right thing often requires personal risk but can catalyze systemic change. Courage is not just about confrontation. It is about standing for justice even when it is uncomfortable. The story also highlights the value of restorative leadership. Grant did not act out of vengeance. His goal was to reform the department, rebuild trust, and set a standard of integrity. By implementing transparency protocols, community outreach, and accountability measures, he emphasized that leadership is about creating a culture where ethical behavior is expected and supported. This teaches that lasting change comes from education, engagement, and principled action rather than punishment alone. Another key lesson is the importance of calm and measured responses. Throughout the crisis, Grant's composed demeanor helped de-escalate tension, command respect, and focus attention on justice rather than conflict. In life and leadership, reacting with patience and clarity often yields better results than responding with anger or panic. Finally, the story underscores the possibility of hope and renewal. By the end, the city's trust is restored. Officers and citizens coexist respectfully, and the community sees that accountability leads to positive change. It reminds us that even entrenched problems can be addressed when integrity, courage, and ethical leadership guide decisions.